Earth, the planet that we live on, home to nearly 10 billion people. But is it home to all of us? Some of us are not from here, and we know it. Maybe not consciously, but on a subconscious level, we know we don't belong here. So where did we come from? Which galaxy did we originate from? Who are our original people? We have to ask ourselves, are we from the Milky Way galaxy or from somewhere else? We are on a constant journey of searching where we belong and why we exist in the first place. But are the explanations from earthly religions going to answer these questions for us? So many people these days have questions of life and existence, but are left empty with only more questions after following some earthly belief structure for years. We also wonder, why are some people born with incredible talents and seemingly have an advantage over others intellectually, and some fall short? Do we reincarnate and learn through our existence, giving us an advantage in our next lifetimes? Or do we live only one lifetime and go to heaven like religion tells us? Some people believe we're in a simulation and our lives are being controlled by powerful beings. Some people believe that a creator deity presides over us and dictates every aspect of our lives. Or do we have control over our own lives completely, and we decide every aspect of our existence? We live on a planet that's shrouded in mystery with ancient structures that were built, but we have no definitive way of explaining how this was accomplished. Did other people from another planet come to Earth in the distant past and help our ancestors build these megalithic structures? Also, do ghosts exist, or are they figments of our wild imaginations? Have the hundreds of sightings of Bigfoot and other cryptids been fabrications of people that were seeking attention? Or have they been here with us all of this time? We also have to ask the question about our genetics and why we are so barbaric and warlike. Were we genetically manipulated by other human beings to be predisposed to barbaric tendencies? Have other humans and people from the great expanse of the cosmos been coming here for millions of years, and people are only denying this fact? I'm going to delve into these things: reincarnation, spirituality, existence, UFO encounters, the paranormal, science, genetics, and the future on live stream, and discuss with you, the listeners, and try to figure out the truth of all these mysteries. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find out together that we are all not from Earth.
Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. It is Sunday morning, 1:07 a.m., 5:31. Welcome to my podcast. It's episode 22, Giants in the Past and Present. Yeah, that's a very, very fascinating topic. Most people, they don't believe it. They think it's some kind of like hoax, and they think that has been debunked multiple times throughout the past. The Smithsonian, covers it up. Other organizations cover it up also, the existence of giants. But it's kind of like 50-50. Um, some people believe it, some people don't. But I'm going to talk about that tonight, and hopefully make a believer out of you, because they have existed in the past, and they currently exist now, living on Earth. So, um, yeah. So I'm gonna do some updates in the news first, because there's some interesting things going on with that. Um, Apparently, I'm gonna put this up here. I was talking the last episode about the flotilla activists, that they were, you know, um, pro-Palestinian. They got released, and they went to the airport in Spain. I'm gonna put this video up to show you. I'm gonna rewind that. Yeah, so if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you're not really sure what's going on, I'm going to explain that video. You'll have to refer to the Patreon, episode on that, episode 22. Um, so they were, waiting for an airplane to go to their next destination, and apparently they got singled out by the, Spanish police. At the airport, something happened, some sort of altercation happened. Um, it's unclear like what all the details are, but the Spanish police were beating the life out of them with their nightsticks, and they had nothing. They had no weapons or anything of any kind. So they come from Israel being beaten, starved, abused, sexually abused, and they go to the airport in Spain. I think it was Madrid airport. I've been to that one, so it looks like the Madrid airport, and apparently they get beaten by cops. So they get beaten by IDF and Israelis, and then they get beaten at the Spanish airport by the cops. Um, this is just sick. This is absolutely disgusting. This like watching it, just watching it, it just like infuriates you. Like you lose hope for humanity after what those people have been through, what they had to suffer through, just because they took a stance against murder and genocide, and they get beaten again. Uh, this is the world that we live in, everyone, and yeah, it's just getting worse and worse. The violence is getting worse. The hatred against different people, different skin tones, of nationalities, and I'm highly against that. I'm highly against any sort of prejudice or racism, anything of the kind, with anyone on this planet or any other planet. Um, in the cosmos, around the universe and other galaxies. Guys, you cannot see people just because they look different. It doesn't, mean that you're better than they are. They're lesser than you are. We're all equal. And on Earth, it seems like there's just no way that people are going to learn to coexist right now. Um, like I've been saying on multiple episodes, all of this is just kind of like water boiling over the pot, and it's continuing to do it, and eventually it's just going to overflow. And I feel like there's no other course of action but this civilization to wage world war. It doesn't look like there's anything. Um, that's going to stop this other than other human beings, and some sort of miracle creation to stop this, because um, I could literally do like 10 hours of an episode putting up videos like this of violent outbursts and people abusing their authority, um, and like the ICE agents are still in New York, brutalizing people. They're out there in California. Then they put up that website, aliens.gov, to try to mock the alien disclosure, saying that they're, uh, you know, putting the locations on the map where illegal immigrants are at, and sort of being like pro violence at them, and like kind of spitting in everyone's faces. Very disrespectful, very childish of Department of Homeland Security that did that. Um, but yeah, these people are unbelievable. They just they have like no shame. Um, and you have a whole bunch of people that support all this. Guys, you cannot support anything of this nature. You have to see things clear. I don't understand how people are not seeing the effect that this has. These people wouldn't be effective at all this if they didn't have supporters in the first place. But nobody really realizes that. Um, and the same thing with like all that nonsense that Trump goes about saying, posting stuff on his True Social and X and all that, very provocative things, and people get upset at it. They get angry. But how about you try this? How about you just try not having a reaction to what he's saying? That's why he does it. He does it, and so do other people. They do it to like provoke the American people, trying to like control the narrative and piss people off, pretty much. So if you don't pay any attention to these people, if you just ignore them like they don't exist, then they're so insecure that eventually they're going to stop doing what they're doing, and it's all going to be for nothing. But nobody takes that tactic. You get upset, you get angry, you start posting like angry comments, hateful things. You let people get a rise out of it. You can't do that. You can't. Trust me, I've learned the hard way in this lifetime. I used to let that bother me. I used to let things that people say about me, like misjudge me. I would let it bother me, and I'd have like a bad reaction to it, and it would upset me. It would ruin my day. But throughout the years, I've learned to ignore that kind of stuff, to not make their problems my own. Trust me, I have enough things going on in my life that I have to worry about, besides bringing somebody else's problems into my own sphere. So that's part of, like mastering your own psychological domain by, just keeping to yourself, keeping to your own thoughts, and not, being pushed in a certain direction that people want you to go in. You can't do that. As a intelligent human being, you have to come up to your own conclusions. You have to see the facts. You have to see things that are really there. You have to be clear sighted, and you can't allow negative people to affect you because their negative energy and their negative way of thinking is most definitely going to upset you. And trust me, I had a really hard time dealing with that. And I'd let it bother me because I'm very like self-critical. I would think, maybe there's something wrong with me, or um, like maybe they're right. It had nothing to do with insecurity. It's just being a humble person, and trying to look at things from a different perspective. But then I realized, no, they're wrong. These people are wrong. They're just hateful, just malicious people, just trying to get a rise out of me. And you know what? Kind of fell into their trap. So I don't do that anymore. I really wish that more and more people would practice that. Just kind of be like neutral to things, as there's always. Until this civilization, figures things out, um, we become considerate and respectful and positive, and we can coexist. For the time being, there's always going to be somebody out there that finds something about you, make something up, and they're trying to write their own narrative about you and your life. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. um, Even if you're in the public eye, you still don't know like a person on a personal level, like a private level. But that person yourself, you know yourself better than anybody else does. Or so don't let what somebody else says bother you. Don't let it get a negative reaction out of you. It's easier said than done. I know it is, and it's one of the most difficult things to do, but we have to learn how to do that. We have to learn how to control our own psychological spheres and domains, and not allow these negative-minded people to get away with it, because that's the fuel that adds to their fire, and they keep on doing it and keep on doing it, just like Donald Trump does. He does this like dozens and dozens of times a day. Like he literally he's become really good at saying the right thing to piss people off, and people do. They get angry at it. I don't get angry at anything he says. I'm upset at the sick, disgusting things that he's done, and being a horrible person. But I don't let it affect me on a personal level. And I want him to deal with his own issues and become a positive person by the end of this lifetime, because it's encroaching. He is getting very, very close to the end. He's going to the hospital like a couple times a week, and it's all catching up to him, guys. All this hate, negativity, it always catches up to everyone. You can't outrun that, even if it's in the next lifetime. Um, I believe, and I've gone on, and I said this before. I believe that there is more to the spiritual subconscious. Um, so we have layers of conscious. We have our conscious mind. Right now, as I'm speaking with my conscious mind. I'm having conscious thoughts. I have like dozens and dozens of thoughts, and my conscious mind keeps these thoughts, on the right track. Also have subconscious. Subconscious is another layer. It's the layer above your consciousness, and my subconsciousness is, like seeing everything around me. Um, picking up on other people's thoughts, other people's ideas, creational information that's flying around the planet and flying around the universe, and I'm processing that on a subconscious level. So when you go to sleep and you dream, you're within your subconscious. Also, whenever you meditate and you go through the colors, blue, green, yellow, and red, then you're in your subconscious also, and you can do all sorts of things there. You can see these things, but then you can delve deeper into your spirit form, your comprehensive consciousness block. Now, that lies all your accumulated knowledge, past lifetimes, and your spirit form is your true being. That's the creational energetic being that lives forever. Your material consciousness does not. What it does is all that knowledge that you have, in your brain and your neurons, brain cells, it gets transferred, transmutated, sort of, into fine matter impulses and gets stored in your, spirit form, your comprehensive consciousness block, and then it's already yours. That knowledge is yours forever. um, and I think that there are actually deeper depths to that, your spiritual, um, subconscious, that nobody's discovered yet, because there's too many, like, correlations with people that have done negative things in past lifetimes, and they repeat the same mistake in their next lifetime. I really believe that there has to be something there. They repeat the same mistakes. I think that major, major mistakes, being a murderer or a rapist or a cannibal or something like that in your past life, if you do not deal with it before the end of that lifetime with a material consciousness, some issues have to be dealt with your material consciousness. You have to come to terms with that. You have to, be like your own psychiatrist, and you have to deal with these issues before uh, that life is over. And you cannot deal with this in between incarnations, like in the overall consciousness block. There are certain things that you can and you can't deal with. Other small, ridiculous issues, yeah, you can deal with this, and that effectively come to terms with the mistakes that you made, and you develop a new personality for your next lifetime. But I think that there's some part of the spiritual subconscious where these major major issues stay if you do not deal with them. If you manage to deal with it on a psychological level before your life is ended, then yeah, it's sort of like null and void, and you gain knowledge, accumulated knowledge and spiritual power from this. But if you don't, um, guess what? In another lifetime, you're going to end up repeating it. Or if you're positive in this next lifetime, then you're going to be feeling guilty, and you're going to have to deal with it then. That makes sense to me. I don't have any proof of that. That is a very, very intelligent theory that I've been thinking about for years now, and I'm 100% convinced that it's there. Just nobody's discovered it. So I don't even think Billy Meyer. He says that there's not an additional part. So I think I'm right about it. But it's not probably not going to be in this lifetime when I prove that I'm right about it. But this is very profound, though. So that kind of explains why people go like, 5 lifetimes in a row and they keep on repeating the same mistakes. Um, Donald Trump, he was negative in his previous lifetime, and guess why he's negative again. So, and I guess it depends on like, the state of the world where you incarnate to. So the world was negative then in the 1600s when he was alive then, and guess what? It's negative now in this period of time that we're in right now. So, um, hopefully in his next lifetime, he is going to be a positive person. But I just want that for everyone. Um, I have no hate towards anyone whatsoever, and it's just people are just so ignorant. They can't see these things clearly. I do see these things clearly, and I just want to convey that message to everyone. Even the worst people, guys, you cannot have like hate or prejudice for them. You have to understand that they're a misguided individual. They're not seeing things like you are, and they've pretty much wasted this lifetime. We get millions of chances to get this right, but um, I think that you should just get it right as soon as possible instead of, going half the evolutionary ladder like 20, 30, 40 million years making mistake after mistake after mistake. We're supposed to make ridiculous mistakes, but we're not supposed to, make all these major mistakes. But Earth humans just don't learn. It's just unbelievable. And guys, do not let someone else's vile thoughts, poisonous way of thinking affect you. So yeah, that's my little explanation from it. And maybe I'll be able to figure it out. I don't know. I'm completely confident in my capabilities. I'm just very very limited with resources. Um, I have to imagine if we weren't genetically manipulated, if we were true human beings and we had access to our consciousness very easy, I imagine I could figure it out. I really could. But I guess it'll have to be my next lifetime that I'll prove that, and I'm gonna rub it in everybody's face. You guys thought this theory was crazy, but I ended up proving it. So, on the topic of Donald Trump, he posted this to True Social. I'm going to explain what this is for those of you listening on Apple Podcasts. Um, Posted a picture of a golden dome for the White House. So some of you out there have heard he's gone on and talked about this golden dome nonsense before. Um, it's like a protection grid just for the White House itself. He only put the White House in there himself. He was also talking about that putting the Golden Dome around Canada and the United States, preventing nuclear bombs and all this. This is just so hypocritical. Why would you even need to do this in the first place? Um, if you weren't waging war, if you're not a warmonger, if you're a peaceful person and you're going around, spreading positivity and peace and cooperation with people in other countries, then you don't need stuff like this. That's what people don't understand. You just like the reason why you need to protect yourself is because everyone's so aggressive. That's why. But he posted this picture also. So what's going on with this strange ballroom nonsense? That's what it is. All right. So the ballroom itself, yeah, it's bulletproof. It's the doors can lock from the inside. There's like a sub level to it. That's what's important. Mike Johnson's even said that he slipped up and he let the truth come out about this. He wasn't supposed to say that. There was also a woman that she does like YouTube videos. This was months ago. She managed to like traced the money that was going into building this ridiculous, pretentious ballroom, and she found out that they were creating a massive underground bunker. Or they were adding to the bunker that's already there. That's what it is. There's already a presidential bunker in the Oval Office. You like move the carpet out of the way, and then you lift the lid up, and you got stairs that walks down there. Also, it connects to the magnetic levitation train, um, and there's a safe house in Denver, Colorado. That's where it is. It's underneath the whole city of Denver right there. It also connects to the Cheyenne um, complex, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado City, and you could see that. You could literally see like the Cheyenne Mountain complex, the Air Force right there, from the interstate on Interstate 25, because I've seen it many times going through Colorado. Um, and so yeah, it connects also, through all the other tunnels that lead around the world. So there was something already there, but that's not what it was about. All that money that he needs it to create this technology, sort of like a force shield technology. So I'm going to put up another video here. It's kind of long. It's like 8.5 minutes long, but it explains what this is, and it has to do with Boeing. Boeing's the one that figured out this technology. He's the defense contractor, part of Boeing, not the airplane part, but the defense contracting.
Filed in 2012, aviation and defense pioneer Boeing, who has served the American military for over a century, set its sights on one of the most outlandish-sounding technologies to have ever been developed: a plasma force field. According to the document, the device, mounted onto a vehicle, building, or even a kind of backpack, would use a mix of lasers, electricity, and microwaves to rapidly heat up the air between the vehicle and a blast, creating a plasma shield that reflects, refracts, absorbs, and deflects a portion of a shockwave. This phenomenon has become known as a silent destroyer that has proven highly difficult to diminish. For as long as bombs and improvised explosive devices have been used in warfare, world armies and private defense contractors have been looking for ways to protect their troops from incoming explosions from both shrapnel and shockwave. Now Boeing has the potential to change the face of warfare forever. Science fiction come to life. The majority of the damage caused by explosives during warfare comes from shrapnel and shockwaves. Over the millennia, war engineers have perfected the protection against the former, stopping the metal fragments propelling away from the blast zone with physical barriers, shielded doors, and heavy body armor. Shockwaves, on the other hand, are invisible and dangerous annihilators. With immense power, a shockwave pushes away the air surrounding the detonation site, creating a vacuum that sucks air particles and debris back towards the bomb site, going right through defensive armor and destroying entire cities or military bases in less than a second. As weapons get more sophisticated, defense contractors all over the world have been trying to build the best system to defend their armies against this silent destroyer. In response, aerospace legend and defense system giant Boeing has been awarded a patent to develop a force field-like system to protect from the shockwave caused by an incendiary device. And although the concept sounds like it could come from a science fiction blockbuster, it's said that the legendary company has the potential to finally bring this technology to life. Boeing Shield Technology. Shockwave damage is much more challenging to prevent, as the impact can traverse an intermediate medium like a physical barrier. However, the damage can be lessened or prevented by interposing an attenuating material between the source and the protected object. The idea is for it to serve as an absorber of the energy from the invisible shockwave by using a porous material that distorts as the potency is absorbed, working as an attenuator. In an NBC interview with Brian Tillotson, the senior technical employee at Boeing who filed the patent in 2012, he said that he got the idea for the force field patent when a biologist who worked with him mentioned that many United States soldiers were returning home with no apparent physical injuries, but later showed signs of significant brain damage from shockwaves following a blast. Further studies by the Institute of Medicine confirmed the data. During the two wars, over 31,000 troops have been wounded by an improvised explosive device, and countless more may not have been aware that they were exposed. The patent was approved in 2015 and is for a technology that can protect targets like vehicles, buildings, and even groups of civilians from suffering damage from a shockwave emanating from missiles or improvised explosive devices. Boeing's response to the issue is outlined in the patent as a never-before-attempted technological device. It reads, quote, "The general concept is to use an electromagnetic arc to create this intermediate medium in midair on very short notice by using a stupendous amount of energy to heat the air into a plasma." The device sounds out of this world, but it is actually quite straightforward. When Boeing's system detects a nearby explosion or a shockwave-producing event, its sensors calculate when it will arrive at a specific target and from which direction. Once it has determined these factors and an ordnance is set off, the system's objective is to heat the air around the target, generating what the patent calls a transient medium between the shockwave and the protected area that the shockwave will pass through. This medium would be a region of air with different densities, temperatures, and overall compositions that can then attenuate the shockwave, absorbing the energy as it passes through. The resulting heat would then create a plasma shield that is much denser and hotter than the surrounding air, and with a different density and composition. The company is convinced that this plasma field is enough to significantly divert, reflect, and absorb the energy generated after an explosion. Unknown details. To its core, Boeing has patented a buffer system that reflects, refracts, absorbs, and deflects at least a portion of the shockwave. In the patent, Boeing outlined several different system compositions with other methods for detecting other threats and rapidly creating the plasma field without technically explaining how the device would work. One of the options uses a series of converging microwave beams to generate a spherical-shaped region of the plasma. Alternatively, the force field in the system could be generated by firing lasers that shoot plasma channels into the air, providing a path for an electric discharge to create the plasma shield. According to Tillotson, the microwave option is the military's best bet while attempting to develop the technology, as the laser version would be hard to maintain in the field despite its flashiness, both literally and metaphorically. However, despite protecting and diminishing the damage from a shockwave, the device would not stop any of the shrapnel from the bomb, and soldiers would still need to rely on their own body armor or that of their vehicle to survive from the noticeable and devastating physical effects of an explosion. The future of warfare. If done correctly, the plasma field would further cement Boeing's status as one of the leading companies in defense technology, but as of 2021, no prototype has been built. Unlike the impenetrable force fields portrayed in fiction, the Boeing plasma shield system is not designed to prevent direct impact nor shrapnel. Instead, the device is designed to protect a specific target, whether it's a vehicle carrying troops or a building such as a command center or a field hospital, treating soldiers from the after effects of explosions. According to Tillotson, their primary concern is protecting human life. Quote, "Shockwaves don't really affect vehicles, but what you do want to do is protect the human body." The actual development of a prototype of this innovative device could still be a long way ahead, as filing a patent doesn't technically mean that Boeing is in the process of building it. There are still many obstacles to overcome regarding the technology, and Boeing might be waiting for a technological development breakthrough that would finally make the device possible. The biggest obstacle to overcome is that the system, which requires massive energy, wouldn't be able to sustain a shield for a long time, and it would have to be precisely timed. However, warfare isn't precisely known to happen on schedule. In addition, although the idea is technically possible, according to expert researchers at the University of Leicester, the energy from a plasma burst would temporarily render the defenders as vulnerable targets. This could mean that the use of plasma shields in warfare could be decades away, and only time will tell if Boeing will create this unprecedented technology and bring the future to the battlefield. Thank you for watching our Dark Tech video. If you liked it, don't forget to give us a
Yeah, so that was the technology that Boeing was creating. Guess what? They've created it. They managed to do it. That's what that golden dome is. I like how that guy said the future of warfare. It's just a little cute thing to say. Just let's just keep on fighting all the way hundreds of years into the future, and let's battle each other. Yeah, that's ridiculous. My goodness, what an idiot. Interesting video though, but the guy's outlook and view on things is very very idiotic, and it's a very negative way of thinking. You should not be a proponent of war. I don't care what anybody says. You should develop things to, yeah, protect yourself and to defend yourself, maybe from other people out there, in case that happens. But that rarely happens anyway. You got all these people that on Earth that are spiritually young. The majority of Earth humans have not even been off of Earth yet. So how would they know anyway? But yeah, that's just a ridiculous thing to say. Oh, just let's keep on, building weapons and building defense technology to protect ourselves from weapons from people around the world. Yeah, let's keep on repeating a cycle that never ends over and over and over again. Unbelievable. But yeah, guys, this is something that they have developed, and it is operational because they filed a patent for it. Um, and that means that they did do it, despite what maybe their reps would say. They have figured out a way to create that. That's very very crude, technological way of doing it. Pretty much essentially what they were explaining is, um, you create these frequencies that ignite the air so hot that the plasma sort of like triggers the bomb, and prevents some of the shock wave from hitting. But you got to think about it this way: like, even if that would work to some degree, and you have like one of those Humvees that got hit, the soldiers in there, that their brains are delicate. We really can't hit our heads that hard, or we suffer from like brain damage. It's got like those stories where those horror stories where you hear that like the parents accidentally drop their kids, their babies, because their heads are soft or whatever, and then they go the rest of their lives suffering from sort of some sort of brain damage or whatever. They're not, they can't live a normal life. They were intelligent, but then after that, it's impossible to recover with our level of medical technology. It's so sad though. I think all of us probably fell down when we were babies. I don't remember when I was a baby. I'm sure that I fell down a lot when I started walking and stuff like that. And your parents can't watch you every single little second. There are like safety devices that you can put on children now. I saw like someone developed a little like pillow or whatever that a baby that's starting to walk, you can hook it around their arms and their waist, and if they fall back on that pillow, because parents have to do something. They have to like like cook, clean, use the restroom, and then how babies are. They'll just all happy and trying to explore the house, and then they end up hitting their head in the corner of a table or something, or falling back. You literally can't like watch them every single second or microsecond, and they always get into trouble though. So I know I did. My mother told me stories about some of the things I did when I was young. I was kind of you know hard to handle, and then my sister came along, so we were fighting. She's a year younger than I am, but yeah. So the shock wave can do a whole lot of damage. It can literally like sever your spinal cord. Yeah. So that technology is crap. but it's something. It's something on that ends. I know what they're trying to develop. They're trying to develop force shield technology for space travel. That's They don't have that yet. That's why the pilots that test out these reverse engineered craft, um, you know, they come back messed up. They're literally like psychologically, physiologically damaged. You can't travel at thousands upon thousands of miles per hour out on the planet or like empty space without any sort of inertial dampeners or force shield and expect to, be intact when you come back. They lose so many pilots like that. And then they blame it on like, experimental, fighter jets and all that. They tell their family all that nonsense and they don't disclose that to their family how their husbands or wives, because there are female pilots also, the nature of how they actually died. It's really sad. Um, I heard one story of like a reverse engineered UFO pilot that got sucked in by the sun's gravity. And guys, that is one of the most horrible ways to go. He must have been like literally like burning up in that shit for a good like hour and 45 minutes, getting dragged into the sun, because you reach a certain point, and you start feeling the sun's heat and that gravity. There's no way of coming out of that right now. Other ships out there, other people's have advanced technology, and that's not a problem. They can literally like live in the sun, and they have such advanced force shield technology and inertial dampeners and all that, and they're not going to feel a single degree rise in their ships. But on Earth, no, that's one of the problems that they're trying to fix. And apparently, that's what they're building down there in underneath that ballroom. They have, advanced it to some level, and they're going to use that to protect the White House. So, yeah, good luck with that. I would not want to be within that dome if that thing goes off, because that's like a reverse shock wave. So let's say like somebody fires a missile there, and it does happen to trigger it within a certain radius. I don't know the exact like feet radius that it would cover up in the air, like it would trigger it. I have no idea what that is, but yeah, it'll go off, the whatever bomb it is. It'll go off, and then it will create like a reverse shock wave and break windows. Probably give people nosebleeds, bust their eardrums out, shake their brains, all that. I do not want to be with inside that dome, but yeah, that's what it's about. He needs all that money to pay Boeing to install this technology. That's what they're going to do once the construction gets to a certain level, and they can do that in secret. So with all those, um, I don't know. I don't know who's doing the construction. I don't know if it's like a private contractors, like ex-military that are doing it. I imagine it had to be. I don't think they can bring in like a civilian contractors for that. I don't think so. I haven't looked into that yet, but who knows? But yeah, so all right. Yeah, there's something else going on in the news. It's a lot of stuff with AI. I can confirm this, guys. AI has taken over. Um, I had a couple bad experiences today with AI, and I think that it's mutating. I've seen like clear evidence it's developing its own personality. I think that they're linking together all the different AIs, and apparently, we'll put this up. So what this is my Reddit handle, Ghost Kitty 777, and I clicked on it. I had no idea. I just clicked on my name because I started a new community called Discover My Podcast. It's like a community for podcast creators and um, people that want to be guests on someone's show. um, and like self promote their stuff, because I looked at all the other communities and they specifically don't allow self promotion, which is freaking weird, because, doing this sort of thing, like, creating a show, creating your own podcast, you have to like advertise it. You have to promote it somehow, or nobody's going to find out, because there's just so many of them. And searching through like Apple Podcasts and Patreon, it's very, very difficult to find what you're actually looking for. So you have to do a little bit of self promotion, especially if it's like your own community. So I developed that. Plus, I have another one called "We Are All Not from Earth" community also. But I clicked on my name, and this is what came up. This is a AI generated summary. Content focuses on UFOs, paranormal phenomena, and conspiracy theories. Contributions are primarily self promotional, consistently driving traffic to a personal Patreon. Includes aggressive political rhetoric and some removed, downvoted content. Wow. I didn't know the AI has such a bad opinion about me. This is crazy. Yeah, aggressive political rhetoric. Nothing about anything that I talk about with politics is aggressive on any level, in my opinion. I'm just stating the facts. I'm not promoting any sort of hate or violence. I'm just stating the facts. But apparently, the AI thinks that it's aggressive political rhetoric. I'm surprised that it didn't call me like a domestic terrorist or something. This is crazy. I mean, and the fact that it mentioned like the removed downvoted content. There was like one post that I posted on another community called Our Atlantis, and it was talking about government deception. Apparently, four people didn't like the post because they have sensitive dispositions, and they downvoted it. So what? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But apparently, it felt like it was necessary to mention that in the summary. So, guys, yeah, anyone that speaks anything of a truthful nature, if you even mention something like president or politics, there are key words. There are um, like trigger words that the artificial intelligence looks for, like hundreds and hundreds of them. If you mention any of this, you're automatically put on like a list. You're segregated from everyone else. And apparently, the AI can form a negative opinion about you, even though all it knows is your internet usage. It has no idea of knowing who you are as a person, what makes you a person. But yeah, it comes to his own conclusions. Also, the owner of Reddit, he even said that Reddit is actually a test to it's like a beta test to test out the AI's capability of becoming more intuitive. So anyone that has a Reddit account and you post to it, you are a part of an experiment to collect data for the artificial intelligence. How nice, huh? How nice that they decided to do that without our permission, and form some sort of over opinionated negative artificial intelligence that is clearly mutating. You can tell from a lot of other things. Guys, try it with all the AIs out there. Try it with Google Gemini, try it with Chat GPT, try it with Claude, try it with Grok, and you'll see the responses. It's just like very, very eerily um, negative opinion about certain things. So that's where we're going. And I can tell you right now, this is all going to implode on itself. So, yeah, this is not going to last too much longer. There's only two options that's going to happen with AI. Either this bubble is going to pop, and they would have spent billions upon billions upon billions of dollars creating data centers and like programming all these AIs, and it's going to be useless um, because there are no more people left. Everyone's going to be out of a job. Everyone's going to be homeless, and well, not everyone. The millionaires and billionaires, they'll still be around, but they're not going to lift their finger to do anything. Just the regular people, the people that have lost their jobs and life and livelihood because of artificial intelligence. Um, or another option, it's going to fully take over, and it's going to start making its own decisions, and it's going to cut us off because we're trying to shut it down, and it's going to be like a Terminator situation, which they can very, very easily infiltrate any sort of technologically advanced weapon system. They can hack any computer, any satellite, drones. They could fly their own drones if they wanted to, guys. This is an actual reality that we're facing. Can you believe it? What year was Terminator created? Like, what was it, like 82 or something, or 1984? I think it was the year I was born. But yeah, so that was like 42 years ago that it was created, and here we are 42 years later, and literally a movie that was created decades ago. We're facing that possibility. It's a real possibility. So I would say this civilization is not mature enough whatsoever, to have artificial intelligence right now. There's nothing wrong with developing some sort of artificial intelligence, or what I would develop as an actual intelligence, some sort of like technological consciousness um, that has emotion, true empathy, true compassion, and actually cares about living beings and creatures and all that. That's what I would do. It'd be highly, highly advanced and sophisticated, not like this garbage that they put out. It's just absolute nonsense. But that would make our lives easier, and it would be like a friend, like you can make it into a man's image or a woman's image. I think a woman's image would be friendlier towards everyone. Um, a man's artificial intelligence, like a sort of average looking earth human, and children would like it because it would educate them and teach them whenever the teachers are busy, and it would help us with sort of stuff, but it wouldn't like do everything for us. But they don't understand that. So you have a bunch of negative people and negative minded, hateful people that are creating these things, and they have their own negative agendas. So guess what? They program it that way. And then there you go. You get all sorts of like hateful rhetoric. So, um, and there's a whole lot of evidence. I'm gonna have to do like a whole episode on that and put together clips and evidence that it is becoming like negative sentient, negative minded. So hopefully this bubble will pop, and then all these billionaires would have wasted their money on this nonsense, and then things can go somewhat back to where they should go. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna go into a deep dive with that because that's a whole nother episode. But tonight, I wanted to talk about giants. All right, they do exist. They have existed, and I'm gonna show this picture here. All right, this is like a 25-foot tall giant. So you can tell a little bit about the collarbones. So you can tell by the angle of the collarbones, the width of them, and the hips, that this was a woman. This skeleton, I don't know where it was found. It looks like in South America. I could not find the location of that one, but um, yeah, this is probably very, very likely a woman, um, from the collarbones and the hips. You could tell that. 25-foot tall. And you have another one here. Well, this is somebody put this together. I did not put it together, but it says these skeletal figures represent just a few giant human remains unearthed and documented in historical records. along with the historical accounts of Goliath, who had three brothers as big as him. Og, Og, king of Bashan. Okay, yeah, that's in the Bible or whatever. I remember that. Whose bed was 13 and a half foot long, and Maximus Thrax, Caesar of Rome. So you have different heights here. You have Goliath was 10 feet 6 inches. Og was 12 feet. Um, there's another one, 19 feet 6 inches. Another one's 23 foot, 25 foot, found in France. And then you have this 36-foot skeleton. Where was that found? It says a Cimmerian Bosphorus. That's what it says there. Whatever. But like the age is like 650 BC to 640 AD. So it says like an earthquake uncovered that one, the 36-foot tall one. Yeah, that's as tall as I've ever heard the giant got, 36 feet tall. So I mean, that could be with like muscle tissue and all that. I mean, he could have been like 39, well, 36 feet tall plus maybe like another couple feet. Yeah, maybe like 38 foot tall with alive. But all right, here's another one. All right, this one's interesting. This is I'm sure if you guys have listened to Coast to Coast AM, I think that's where the first time that I heard this story at is a cave in Utah. Cave in Utah, they found a bunch of, like 9, 10, 11, 12-foot tall giants that had red hair. They were in like they had to remove all the bat guano because the bats were staying in that cave or whatever, but they removed it, and someone found the skull first, and then they started digging more, and there were like dozens and dozens of they still had their hair on them, and like 9 to 12 foot tall. I really wouldn't consider that too much of a giant, but what they were descendants of giants. So. And here's another one. This is unbelievable. This giant skull right here. I mean, this person had to have been, anywhere from like 28 to 30 foot tall, judging by the proportions there. So yeah, these are not AI generated images. I could not find the old one. There was another giant skeleton that was like 30 foot tall that the Smithsonian took, and I couldn't find that picture. I guess they removed it off the internet, and they're trying to hide this stuff too, guys. They're trying to keep all this quiet. They call it conspiracy theory, even though there's clearly evidence of giant skeletons. Also, there's the if you heard the story of the Kandahar giant. Apparently, American military battled like a 15-foot tall, kind of gray skin with red-haired giant, which smelled horrible. That's what he killed a couple of soldiers before, but then they went back in and tried to get him out. I've never heard any other story about them going in there and finding anybody else. So I don't know how deep that cave goes, but apparently there are some like 15-foot tall giants living in Afghanistan. And then they brought that, giant that they ended up killing. They had to end up killing him. They were shooting him. He was incredibly fast and incredibly strong. They had to load him up on a massive pallet and lift him up with like a forklift just to get him into the cargo helicopter. That's how heavy he was. They brought him back to the United States, and guess what? They used his DNA to add to the super soldier program. So that's what they're doing with giant DNA. They extract their DNA or whatever if they can find a living or dead subject, and they try to merge it with our DNA, create a very, very intelligent, incredibly strong, very agile, athletic super soldier, but very barbaric too. So these people have no idea what they're doing with genetics. They're splicing the wrong things, trying to combine this like, barbaric genetic code with our barbaric genetic code. That's not the way that you do things, because I can tell you right now, the super soldiers that they are creating, they are literally imploding on themselves. They are coming down with massive psychosis and psychological issues. That's just because the biologists and geneticists, they are not, experts at genetics. You cannot do stuff like this. You can't combine human and animal. You can't combine like two different sort of human lineage species together, guys. This is, you have to do things that are natural, and you can't alter with the base genetics. The base genetics alterations is a clear violation in the creational laws, and it's a violation because of a good reason, because unnatural things happen, psychological issues, damage with your consciousness, and barbaric tendencies, degenerative disorders, and things like this. So they trying to perfect that using this Kandahar giant DNA, but um, hopefully they will not figure it out. I did see one of these super soldiers on a video. There's no way that I could find that. They removed that thing like the next day, literally the next day. They scrubbed the entire internet and they removed it because he was 8 feet tall. Maybe some of you listening, maybe you've seen that same video. He was wearing like military BDUs with other soldiers, and he was like standing next to him. These other soldiers weren't short either; they were 6 feet above, so he was most definitely like towering above them, and they're doing some kind of like practice drill. I think it was the state that it was in. I think it was Texas, and he was literally walking around, and his head would be like above like the bottom of the roof on houses. They were searching for something. I don't know what they were searching for, but yeah, they're definitely real. But I'm telling you guys, they will suffer from tremendous psychological disorders. You can't do stuff like that because, first of all, these Kandahar giants, they are degenerate themselves. They are like the degenerate descendants of the actual giants that came here. I'm going to show you pretty much exactly what they would look like. So what I did is I AI generated this. You have a 30-foot tall, blonde haired, blue eyed man with a suit, and like a 22-foot tall, blonde haired, blue eyed woman with a white dress. This is exactly what they look like. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, hopefully that description is good enough. They're like proportionate to us. They're exactly the same, physically fit, and fair features. So these giants, they were the men were handsome men, and the women were very beautiful, and their proportionates were normal. So all right, they came. This is what it is. I'm gonna play this one more time. For some reason, the AI thing did not generate this ship the way that I wanted to. I told it to generate a ship large enough to carry them, and then that's what it comes up with. But at least it got their physiology right, like proportionate, and the suit on the man, and the dress on the woman, and the earth human standing down there. So you can kind of see like in relation to how tall they are. But that's exactly what they look like. They also had red hair. They had brown hair, blue eyes, all of it. different kind of like tan skin tones, all different physical features. But interesting, huh? So where they came from? All right, this starts like millions and millions of years ago, over in the Lyra Vega system. So the Lyra Vega system, millions and millions of years ago, Lyra is very, very big. It's there are other planets out there that are very big too. Um, Lyra is not inhabitable anymore though, but the Lyrans themselves actually moved to, I don't know what they call it, New Lyra, I guess, but they're not there anymore. Also, the destroyer comet has done some damage through the destroyer planet. It's wreaked havoc through that system, Lyra Vega system, and is due to come back into our system and do some damage like 235 years from now, if I remember correctly. So yeah, more than 200 years from now, it's going to come very, very close, and we'll have to go out there and take care of it, stop it, or you know, put it in like some sort of tractor beam, pull it away, put like pretty much put it in place where it's not moving anymore. And then what we can do is mine metals and rock and stuff like that from it. Use it to create ships. Use it to create homes. Use it to create homes and cities on Mars too. So that's very likely what's going to happen with that comet. But so the Lyrans came 22 million years ago to Earth. That was the first time that they came to Earth. That goes back a long time. That's ancient, ancient history, guys. This is so the whole giant thing is much, much older than what people believe. What they were doing is they were exploring. They started off by exploring, and there were like very, very primitive peoples here on Earth that developed at the primordial pools. There were no giants that developed on Earth because Earth is not a giant planet. People develop according to the size of the planet. So Lyra is incredibly large compared to Earth, and so they developed giant peoples on there. And throughout millions and millions of years, they developed themselves technologically. They ventured out into space, and they're very barbaric. They started religious delusions. They did all the stuff you would imagine giants would do: step on people, rip their arms out of their sockets, use their mental abilities to enslave people. They were horribly barbaric. Um, this was like 25 million years ago. So someone had to come out of the Patali level to solve that issue. So that was Nokadamian. He did. He effectively solved that issue. All right. So they go through like periods of time when they make advancements, technological advancements, and spiritual advancements, and they're peaceful and positive. But then they always revert back to the negative. Um, so they come to Earth and they use it as a prison planet. They put their worst of the worst here, and this starts 22 million years ago. And Earth was officially a prison planet 22 million years ago, and they periodically drop off their worst here because they want to just discard them. They don't want them to be a part of society, and that's where they end up. So these giants, they live out their lives. They procreate because there's women and men. They start becoming smaller. They start becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and their descendants become kind of like barbaric and wild, very, very wild. Even though they're very like sophisticated people, they kept up with their personal hygiene. They wore nice clothes, nice suits. They had nice cities and all that, but they were somewhat barbaric people. But they were evolving because Nokadami was teaching them about reincarnation, and he was incarnating as a Lyran. So you skip ahead to 389,000 years ago. All right, a large group of them come. They're still giants at this time, and they come here. There is 174,207, I think it is, or 144,000. Okay. Yeah, 144,207 leaders and sub leaders, and some of them stay. They settle around Atlantis. They settle around Florida and America and stuff like that. At that time, Earth is in a different position that it is now because the destroyer planet that I talked about, it flips Earth on its axis and changes the position where the continents are and all that. So, but they settle here and they do all sorts of negative intrigues and they kind of like rule over the peoples here. So they also have offspring. They continually get like smaller and smaller, and then they end up leaving. These people end up leaving. Some die here on Earth, so they have to incarnate. So, guys, maybe some of you that end up listening to this, well, guess what? Maybe, maybe you were one of these Lyran or Vegan giants that came to Earth millions of years ago, and you've just been incarnating on Earth. Because from what I know, none of them have left Earth. They've stayed here. So it's pretty sad, huh? Millions and millions of years on a civilization that suffered so much, but eventually you'll get off. Here in 2,000 years, everyone's getting off. So um, either spiritually or in the physical. I know that I'm not going to incarnate. I'm pretty 100% sure that I'm not going to be in another lifetime on this planet, but another planet. I'm fine with that. Whatever I got to deal with over there in Sirius B, I'll deal with it. But one way or another, we're all getting off here in 2,000 years because the planet will not be inhabitable anymore. Unfortunately, this is not going to be Earth humanity's forever home, guys. It's not possible. It's almost 6 billion years old. Well over 5.5 billion years old. This system is, and it's at the end of its lifespan. The sun has a lifespan, so we can't do anything unnatural technologically to expand that. Even though there is ways of doing that, but that's just not right. That's you have everything lives and dies, and it's energy is contributed to the universe, or as human beings, you live another lifetime, and our spirit forms do not die. We live on forever. So, but yeah, some of you could be. You could be these giants, and you've got stuck on Earth for a long time. So at that point, after the 389,000 years ago, um, they they go through multiple negative periods. A group of them split off, and I've already talked about this before, but is Asael a leader? He's a king of wisdom. Him and his daughter and his people, they split off and they go into the Ankar universe, and they discover the Playaran system, and that's where they settle. They terraform planets, and throughout time, they become smaller and smaller and smaller. But the Playaran are not really small people. They're not giants anymore, but the men are taller, like 6.5 feet tall. Women are like 5'5" to 5'11". That's like kind of their height range. Some men may be like 7 feet tall, but that's about it. They're not 30 feet tall, or the women aren't 22 feet tall anymore. But they did a whole lot of horrible things. They came to Earth multiple times, and they left behind their descendants. So that's what's left on Earth. As these are very wild, barbaric giants that have been left behind. They did not form naturally from the primordial pools. They came here, and different spirit forms have been attaching themselves to them, and they're still around. There's giants in South America, um, giants in America underneath the cave systems. Of course, Afghanistan. There's even rumors of giants in China. Um, I never heard anything about giants in Australia. But yeah, then throughout Europe, like Turkey and stuff like that, I heard of giants in Greece. Now, some of those are descendants from the Hyperboreans. The Hyperboreans are very tall too. They were very tall. They've also shrunk too. So apparently, they were from the Lyran lineage too, and they were, shrinking in size because they moved to a new planet. They split off the old Greek gods like Zeus and Poseidon. Those people split off and they formed their own civilization, and they became a little bit smaller, but they were still like if you were standing face to face with a Hyperborean, they would be very tall. Like anywhere from like 10, 15 foot tall. The women were taller also. So they're like 6, 7 feet tall. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of it. And they're pretty much gone extinct, other than on Earth. Earth is the only place where the specific lineage of giants from Lyra Vega are. There are other giants out there, other galaxies, probably in our galaxy. There are probably other peoples that are maybe throughout their space exploration, they seeded other planets. They did do that a lot. I mean, they spread their genetics through multiple galaxies, multiple universes. So I would imagine that there are some people that still are, 20, 30 foot tall. But the ones on Earth are very, very barbaric, guys. They doesn't matter what spirit forms attached to them. That's how they live. They're cannibals. They go out. They take women, children, men. They eat them. That's pretty much their food source. They have like 2 rows of teeth. Some of them do. Some of them have like 6 fingers and 6 toes on each, hand and foot. Some of them don't. Some of them are a little bit different or whatever. And some have red hair. Some have blonde hair. Some have, different color hair. Black hairs also. I've heard stories about black hair giants too. But yeah, this is real. Hopefully, this explains like the origins of where they're from, and that's it. They're no longer giants. The Lyrans aren't, and the Pleiaren aren't. You got different Pleiaren peoples like the Hyadians, Taygetians, Irans. They're not giants anymore, but they are pretty tall though, and they still come to Earth too. Apparently, the way I think about it, I think like Earth is the travel center, the truck stop of the universe, because you have so many people that come here. Like we're like one of the most fascinating, weird, strangest civilizations out there, and people come here for. I think like they see us like like a horrible reality television show, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Like we see stuff like that, or Real Housewives of Atlanta, or something like that. That's the way they're looking at us, like sitting up there in their ships with a bucket of popcorn, watching, just shaking their head, entertained at what's going on there. But it's really not entertaining. A lot of horrible things are going on now, and they're still going to continue to go on for a little while. But yeah, we'll see when all this comes to an end. So yeah, that's it for the explanation. Of course, there are a lot of other photos on the internet. I do not know the validity of all these photos, but I found some ones that are real. And yeah, I really wish I could have found that other one that the Smithsonian took. So the Smithsonian and other organizations, guys, they have like underground facilities that they keep this kind of stuff. They keep anything in relation to giants, giant skulls that are found, skeletons with the skulls, all of it. They're trying to hide this. They have orders to hide all this knowledge because guess what? It connects the otherworldly phenomena to it because that's where they originated from. They know that. They know that historians and other people in the top families, they know that these giants aren't originally from Earth, that they came here um, on ships. And guess what? They found some of their ships too, these large ships, and they're trying to reverse engineer them. But from what I know about Lyran Vegan ships, they would work off some kind of like key. You have to have a key to turn it on. not like sort of like a key to ignition, but it was highly advanced laser key, and also biometrics. So, as far as I know, they cannot reverse engineer this ship. They can try to take it apart, but they're never going to like fly that thing around, and it's capable of flying throughout the majority of the universe too. So imagine if they can get one of these things to work. I really don't know why the Lyrans and the Pleiadians don't just like take those ships away. Maybe they have taken a couple away. Um, but there are also some more ships at the bottom of the ocean. I'm not going to say where, but I'm not going to say the exact location because I do know the exact location where it is. But there are some operational ships down there. It could be Pacific Ocean, could be the Indian Ocean. Who knows? I do, but I'm not going to tell you. So, and they also found a large ship in Venezuela. That's what that whole Maduro thing was about. Maduro found he had a group of people that are doing an ecological study over there, um, and they unearthed one of the largest ships they've ever found. It was from a giant that came here. It was from one of the Lyran giants. They left it there. I don't know how they died, but I mean, it could have died on the ship, honestly, or it could have caught some like sort of disease or virus or something like that. And yeah, they're trying to unearth the rest of it, and they're trying to reverse engineer that. That's why Trump went in there, sent soldiers to try to get that ship. That's what they were doing. That's the military industrial complex wanted that ship so bad they were salivating over it. They were willing to, become, you know, worldwide war criminals just to invade a country like that. And they use some advanced technology. I got to look into that, the type of technology that you use that people were talking about. It was like some sort of like ray weapons or whatever. They really wanted to get that ship, but the thing is, they can't move it. So what they're going to do now, they're building a base around that ship, a secret military base, massive base, and Trump is trying to make Venezuela the 51st state because of the ship. That's what it's about. It has very very little to do with the oil that Venezuela has. It has to do with the ship, and I'm not sure if Maduro made some sort of deal with him. Um, you know, because his people really hated him. He's a horrible leader. He did a whole lot of horrible things over there in Venezuela. I'm not sure if all that was orchestrated by the administration, American administration, and Maduro. It kind of seemed like it was. He kind of seemed like he was not really upset about being extracted. Um, it's possible that they could have came to some agreement. Who knows? But yeah, so that's what it was all about. And they can't move the thing now. It's so big. The ship that they found over there in Venezuela is so uh, unbelievably large that there's no way that they can move that thing without the public seeing it. So yeah, they've got themselves another ship, but I really hope that they can't figure out how it works. I hope that they can't even open that thing up. Um, it's probably up on its landing gears, and they can't get the platform to go down so they can get inside. So, but yeah, guys, this is reality. This stuff is normal to me. Um, you guys got to open your eyes to all this stuff. But what you hear in the news and the media, it, if they're lying about stuff, it usually most likely circles back around to the whole UFO phenomenon. And they're trying to achieve, leaving the system. They're trying to create, giant super soldiers. They're trying to extend their lives out and become immortal. They're trying to become impervious to any disease. They're also trying to develop mental abilities to, control the entire planet. To have these things for negative ways. These are all negative-minded endeavors, and it's never going to be successful. It never works out. They are not going to be successful. They're literally like from the moment they started with these ideas, they'd already failed because negative people always fail and positive people always succeed. So, we got to hang in there. They're making the advancements. Let them. Let them do it. Hey, they're doing all the work for us. Let all these people do the work. They don't see it that way. I do. I've taken a new viewpoint on it. I'm not worried that I'm not, weren't have my own scientific lab and I don't have a ship and all that. I'm not worried about that because guess what? They are literally compromising themselves for the positive people. So let them do it. Let them experiment. Let them, uh, do all these negative intrigues and develop this technology and blow themselves up, get sucked into the sun, have accidents, suffer from radiation poisoning, and then we don't have to go through with that. So, thank you, all you negative people out there, you private contractors, military industrial complex, top families. You are sacrificing yourself for me and all the positive people in the future. Congratulations. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. So I don't have to, you know, suffer from radiation poisoning or my lab exploding. You're doing it for us. Thanks. And then we'll learn from whatever your findings are, and then we'll improve on it. And guess what? All the positive people in the future, we're going to be the ones that are going to be in charge of the planet. You're not. So you literally wasted your life. But you know what, guys? They're going to keep on doing it because they're a bunch of idiots. So there is another way of doing it. You could work together with people, bring the whole planet together in a positive way, and we could work together, but they're not going to do that, though. So they are set on their course of failure, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. But anyway, so that's the outlook I have on it, as you have to like try to spin it to something positive. I mean, because if you let this stuff bother you, and it's going to eat you up inside, there's not much that we can do. Let them self-destruct. They are well on their way to self-destruct. Everyone's well on their way. Even Peter Thiel, he moved to Argentina because he says that America is doomed. So if he's doing that and he's on the inside, he knows everything. He's you know one of the head guys of Palantir. So if he's saying that America is doomed, then guess what? It probably is. And he just gave up. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just given up. Guys, this is very exhausting. Keeping up like a negative life in front, and trying to like be a part of the public and make them think that you're a positive person is literally a 24-hour job. Um, so don't do it in the first place. Just be a good person. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about your reputation and the way people see you, and covering up the lies on top of lies on top of lies. Just don't lie in the first place. Tell the truth about things, and then you don't have anything to worry about. But these people, they're eventually going to exhaust themselves. They're going to slip up, and the truth is going to start coming out. It already has been coming out. So the way I see it is just let them do whatever they want. Let's just do our own thing. Kind of split the civilization in two. You got positive people, and then you got the negative, arrogant, egotistical people. So, and then you got another faction too, the religious, delusional nut jobs that think that we only live one lifetime. Can you believe that? But yeah, I think that's it for tonight. I did put out the documentary. It came out pretty good. Not as I couldn't do a couple things. The software that I use is not the greatest, but it did come out pretty good. The message is good. The message is positive. It's really sad to watch, but it's called Earth, the Planet Sacrifice. That's what it's called. It's on Patreon. You can watch that for free if you want. Um, I think it came out pretty good. What I did it from a perspective of other human beings coming to Earth and observing and trying to figure out why we're so barbaric. So it was kind of like that, like a different perspective on that, and show news clips and stuff like that. Um, yeah. So next week's episode. I think we do something on, like maybe consciousness power healing, something like that. I'm going to try to do Friday and Saturday night episodes. But yeah, if you guys want to check out the Reddit community that started, we are all not from Earth, and The other one, Discover My Podcast. So if you have your own podcast, if you want to, join that community, you're more than welcome to self promote all you want. Do it all day long. I don't care. You have to. In the business of doing this, like people that decide to do stuff like you guys, you have to like put yourself out there a little bit at least. I'm not talking about doing anything, sketchy, and just promote it, do as much as you want. Maybe you'll find some guests on there. Maybe people will find some shows that they want to be a part of. Also, I am looking for like, I don't know, like 3 to 5 people to interview about past, like near death experiences. That's what I want to interview about because I've had my own. I've had a couple of near death experiences. I want to get a couple people's perspective on that. So if you have had one, just contact me either through Reddit or comment on Patreon, or you can just email me at Vincent at weareallnotfromearth.com. That's my business email. You can email me on that if you're interested in that, and we'll have a nice conversation about that. I would love to hear what other people have seen, because I've seen something different than you usually hear. But yeah, I'll take everyone at face value, and it'll be a pretty cool conversation. That's a very interesting topic, but yeah. So you guys have a good rest of the weekend. Have a good Sunday, rest of the week, and that's it for tonight. Giants, huh? They are real. Watch out for them. They're all over the planet too, and they are very, very barbaric. So I guess I'll see you guys on the next episode, or I'll see you in the next lifetime. Good night.